Those materials may include raw materials, may include finished goods, or may include consumption goods. So basically, a warehouse can also be defined as an assumption of responsibility for the storage of goods. So basically, a warehouse is used for storing of goods, and at the same time, it can be used to create what is called time utility or place utility. So the next thing we are going to talk about is the functions of a warehouse. Functions of a warehouse. We have 5 major functions of a warehouse. Number 1, a warehouse is used for storage purposes. For storage purposes. If you have items that are surplus or items that are excess, you can decide to store them as you wait for the customers to come. It can also be used as a place for price stabilization. So what do we mean by price stabilization? This is whereby you wait for items to stabilize in price. Basically, you don't sell them until the prices are stable. Then once the prices are stable, you go ahead and sell those items. The other thing is risk bearing. A store can be used, or a warehouse can be used to store, to risk bear items. For example, if you put the items outside there, you realize that those items at the end of the day are going to be stolen. So when you put items in a warehouse, therefore, you avoid or you minimize the risks. A warehouse can also be used for financing purposes, whereby the items that are in the store can be used to access loans in a bank or financial institution. You can also use a warehouse to grade and package your materials. In the event you have excess, or in the event you have bulky items, you can divide those items into smaller quantities or into smaller packages and grade those items. So our second lesson was the benefits of warehouses. Benefits of warehouses. Number 1, when you have warehouses, you can be able to do regular production. At any given time, you realize your production will not be interrupted in any way. Number 2, it can provide what is called time utility. Time utility. Just a minute. So time utility. A warehouse creates time utility by bringing the time gap between production and consumption. So production is not interrupted in any way. Therefore, items are available whenever they are needed by the customers. The other thing is a store of surplus goods. A store of surplus goods. So you can decide to store excess goods. You can decide to store excess goods in a warehouse for purposes of waiting for demand, because you are anticipating that in future customers are going to buy your product. Then we have price stabilization. Warehouses can be used in the event we have fluctuation in prices of goods. This means that at the end of the day, you realize that prices might be high or might be low. And for you to balance that, you'll be able to use the warehouse to ensure the prices are stable. Then you can minimize risks. You can minimize risks. The other thing is packaging and grading. We said that when goods are received in a warehouse, what normally happens is that they are received in bulk. Therefore, you can decide to unitize those items or package those items into smaller quantities. And this can be done in a warehouse. Then financing is very critical, whereby you can use the items that you have in the store to ask for a loan in a financial institution as a form of collateral or as a form of security. Then the lesson summary, I gave you a video. I gave you a video in the lesson summary, and the video was basically explaining the issues that we are talking about there. The issues that we are talking about there. Then today I've been able to give a lesson there that is talking about the types of warehouses. We have various types of warehouses. And the first one is a private warehouse. These are warehouses that are owned by individuals or are owned by organizations, basically manufacturers or resellers. For example, a warehouse that is owned and managed by wholesalers and retailers close to their selling centers. Then we have warehouses that are constructed by manufacturers near their production units. Then we also have warehouses that are taken on rent by retailers. And retailers may also have several warehouses in various regions. We have the second category of warehouses where we have public warehouses. These are warehouses that are owned by the government and semi-government bodies. And basically, people can be able to rent their warehouses and pay a certain amount of fee. Then the third category is the bonded warehouse. So these are warehouses that are owned and managed by the government and private agencies. Bonded warehouses basically are always near the airports, so that goods are normally kept there awaiting for customs clearance. Then we have the other category of warehouses, which are cooperative warehouses. Cooperative warehouses. These are warehouses that are owned and managed by cooperative societies. They are societies these societies basically provide storage facilities on the most economical rates to the members only. So basically members are allowed to store their produces for purposes of ensuring at the end of the day, they'll be able to get profits. Then the last category is the distribution centers. Distribution centers. These type of storage facilities usually have larger space, which enable faster movement of larger quantities in a short period. These are very common in the neighborhood, whereby companies decide to have distribution centers for their items so that they'll be able to reach a wider range of customers. And this will help in ensuring that goods are able to move faster in the distribution centers. For example, a company like Brookside can have various distribution centers in the estate. And this helps to ensure that items will reach the customers in the shortest way or in the shortest time possible. Maybe if you have a question, you can ask. Maybe if you have a question, you can ask. So the first person is going to ask a question is Francisca. Francisca, do you have a question? Francisca, do you have a question? No question. Sylvia, Sylvia, do you have a question? Sylvia, do you have a question? Sylvia, do you have a question? And Ann Koki. Ann Koki, do you have a question? Ann Koki, you have a question?
No.
No question. Francisca, do you have a question? Francisca, do you have a question? And Sylvia. Sylvia, you have a question?
Yes.
Yes, ask.
Sir, notes najua mimi sikuwa nimejoin the first time.
Yes.
Sasa sijui tunafanya aje kuandika ama kunini.
Unaona ukishaingia kwa dashboard ukiclick lesson 1 utaona notes hapo So what you do, you are going to read the notes and write them. Then every Monday I'll be having the Zoom class. Then I'll be
every
explaining.
Monday.
Every Monday, it's written there. You'll be able to see the timetable. So every Monday, we have a Zoom class where I'll be explaining what you already have. Is that okay?
Okay.
Francisca,
Yeah, thank you.
you have a question? Francisca. Francisca, uko na swali? So if there is no question, I'll stop there. Then on Monday next week, I shall also come and summarize what you've done that week. Is that okay? Is that okay?
Yes.
And Koki, is that okay? Francisca,
Yes.
is that okay?
Yes.
And Ann Koki, is that okay? So let's meet next time. Let's meet next time if there is no other question.